Hey guys, Ranchin here, bringing on the Zerg commentary. This is going to be the final set between Jaedong and Snow in the PDPOP MSL quarterfinals. That's right. Yes, it is. No lie. Here at the bottom left-hand corner, playing as the orange Zerg, is going to be Jaedong, and his opponent this fine evening, day, whatever it was over there. I think it was evening. Might have been day. I have no idea. Actually, I should have an idea since I usually check it out online. But anyway, that's not important right now. The upper left-hand corner in violet or purple, or whatever that was, is going to be protoss player Snow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Really looking forward to this one. A really nice series so far. A lot of people were like on my channel, oh my goodness, Ranchin, you have to commentate the Jaedong versus Snow series. Oh my goodness. It is so good. So it's proven itself to be that, yeah. 55, 56, 57, anticlimactic answer. But yeah, really good series so far. Second and fourth set, I gotta say, Snow bringing some extremely impressive play. But we've had, all the games have been good, one way or another. I mean, third game and fourth game, we had Jaedong and Snow absolutely dominating, respectively. Jaedong going to go for overpull this time around. On the opposite side, we did see a force fast expand into working. We're going to see whether Snow actually decides to plap down the Nexus before Forge like he did in the last game, but I really don't think it's as good an idea on this map. This is Dante's peak. Last time around, they were playing on Benzene. Despite it being a two-player map, he felt safe enough to do that. I believe it was on... pretty sure it was in the last set anyway. My memory's all jumbled. Too much studying. Too much stuff to do. But yeah, in the first game on this map, Jaedong won it. Although I do distinctly remember Snow playing a damn good game, and was overall really impressive. Seems like Snow not getting the full scale. Kind of as a probe out there. I don't know. Doesn't see the drone. Was thinking of maybe not going up the ramp or something. I'm not quite sure whether it had gone up the ramp previously or what that stuff was. Has two probes out there across the map. Finding out how has his probes. I did not manage to get any harassment on that drone inside the natural because Jaedong smartly kind of hit it a little bit to the side. Waited until the probe came in. Now just spawning some Zerglings, and yes, seeing that Snow decides, you know what, I'm going to play safe here because this is the last set and I want to make damn sure I don't fall to these Zerglings running right at my base. So he puts down that second cannon. Just making sure he's safe. With those two cannons should be just fine. Might have to force, because he's going to want to put down the Nexus before he puts down the gateway, he might be forced to delay, to get a few drones out, probes, I'm sorry, off the line to help protect his choke. Also might get a little bit of trouble. Jaedong, meanwhile, now just going to sneak off to the lower right-hand corner of the map and pick himself up an additional base. No, meanwhile, being pressured heavily by his probe. Might lose it here, getting a few more hits on it. Going to try to survive with it as long as possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. One more hit from a Zergling, that's going to be it. Oy! Okay, maybe not. Maybe one more. I keep forgetting how fast Protoss units recharge that friggin' shield. Jaedong trying to get at least some sort of a hits on it. Always getting a little bit closer. Snow trying to juke it around because he wants to keep the probe on alive. He wants to keep it possibly scouting for him. I'm going to see how successful he is at that exactly. I really like this map for the playstyle it offers, and Jaedong is actually going for a very interesting play right now. He's going to take the bottom right-hand corner of the map, and that's going to allow him to take 5 gas bases if this game goes far into the late game. That's really interesting because basically you got that lower right-hand natural, which is going for, then it's going to transition to the main, and that's going to be 2 locations he can defend and reinforce from. Then he's going to be able to take the 6 o'clock location, which is also a gas expansion, so that's going to be the entire south side of the map taken. And of course the lower right-hand position is a further trudge for any Protoss units to just kind of run over there. But overall, I'm really looking forward to see what Snow decides to go for here. Seems like he's going for standard play. Cybernetic's coordinates inside of his main right now. Probably going to follow that up with a Stargate. He was really impressive. He's really impressed me this entire series, except maybe for the third set, where Jaedong just kind of hammered him in like a rusty nail with a hammer the size of Thor's Mjolnir. But hey, in response, in the fourth set, he just kind of did exactly the same thing to Jaedong. Shut him down right away. And Jaedong going for a very economic, heavy game again, it seems. 3 early bases right out of the gate, spreading himself a little bit thin. But doesn't. We're gonna see whether Snow actually decides to put on some pressure play. We're seeing might decide to go for something different. If it's something like the build he went for the last time, he would be putting down a Citadel soon, follow it up with the Temple Archives, and then just pump plop down some quick gateways, and then just pump Corsairs, then pump Zealots like crazy, because he really was running around with +1 speed Zealots very early and doing a hell of a lot of damage, putting on a lot of pressure. So we're going to see what he actually managed to do on this map. The danger here is that if he tries to, for instance, pressure low right hand, trying to get his probes get inside, not going to happen. But if he tries to put on pressure on the low right-hand position, that means that Jaedong is just going to be able to counter-attack him from his main and natural. So that's the danger there. Is putting down Citadel Ladoon right now, getting his first Corsair, so we're going to see probably, seems like he's going to go for a similar strategy, just standard beast build. He did, of course, in the last map, before he started going for crazy Zealot pressure, did have a couple of DTs kind of roaming around the map, which were not too successful, but, you know, still gives him some map control, some map positioning. Of course, you really want to try to do some damage with those DTs, but often enough, these days, it's very hard to do. He's already got 3 Zealots out there. They're going to help him defend. These Zergs really aren't going to be able to accomplish much at all. Zealots even going to run out and like, what's up? What's up? You want to mess with us? With Zealots, boy? What's up? I don't know what that was. Random fit of insanity. Spire almost up now for Jaedong. Up right now. Zerg just going to stand right in that main and kill an Overlord. Might even get to... He's got pretty much the scan information he needs. I'm not quite sure if he knows about the low right-hand base yet. But he should be getting a decent idea for it. Jaedong going for Corsairs or Scourge early again, it seems. Last game, it really kind of ended up kicking him badly because he got those Hydras out, but Snow had enough Zealots to pretty much counteract the Hydras. Hydras with no upgrades don't do a great job. Do not do a very good job at all, honestly, against heavy Zealot, heavy attack speed, attack damage Zealot, upgraded Zealots. And already it seems like Snow already kind of putting himself up position, getting himself ready across the map, has some Zealots right there. Seems like he has them across the middle, so these Zergs might actually bypass him. They are going to be able to snipe this one single Zealot. The other Zealots are not going to be able to help there. Rather than actually try to come here. Nice micro there from Snow, helping one Zealot to survive, but now the Zerg is just going to come around, survive, and pick off 2 of those. Another Zealot coming in to reinforce, but they're just being picked off, trying to picked off. Jaedong on top of Snow's play, finally speed hitting for those Zealots, so there's 5 of them now, some of them damaged. As soon as +1 hits, those Zerglings aren't going to stand a chance. 6th one already out there, he's pumping them like crazy, but they're just getting caught out as they come out across the map, so he's always going to have these 5 Zealots to work with. We can see when he actually has managed to do something with the 6th Zealot, also tried to run down, but that might actually be caught off by the Zerglings. Camera staying on fans for 2 seconds too long yet again. One Zealot is going to get caught in the middle, does have weapons 1, but still not nearly enough to try to fight these Zerglings. More Zealot coming to help out, 2 Zerglings instantly die. You see what happens there. These Zerglings can't surround and engage 1 Zealot. But as soon as the number hits hits only a few, as soon as it's more than a couple of Zealots, that's already dangerous for any number of Zerglings really to engage until they have some Carapace upgrades and attack speed upgrades. Actually, DT is also out there going for heavy Zealots yet again. Seems like someone wants to put on the constant pressure play. Jaedong on the opposite side does have some Hydras to counteract, but he's kind of hunkering down this time. There's there's only the low right-hand base that's kind of out a little bit more out in the open, but it seems like it has been put out some... Sorry. Seems like Jaedong has also put down some decent defensive positioning on that position, I guess. DT actually going to run towards there. I'm really surprised if Snow hasn't actually spotted that lower right hand. Feels like it hasn't. Seems like he's just focusing on this lower left hand while just sending that contingent of Zealots towards that lower right hand base. Could have some decent results if he actually did that. Flying around with his Corsairs right now, trying to put on some pressure. Hey, what's up, Overlords? Yum, 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 nom, 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 nom. Well, it's not really nomming, but, you know, they're trying to kill him. And finding a decent position where they can kill one Overlord and then flying around, going to try to take another one. They take those down pretty quickly. One DT just kind of flying around. Scourge coming here. I think he took down one of the Corsairs. Not quite sure whether he did. Nice micro there from Snow, splitting up his Corsairs. Did not lose a single one, it seems. Seems like the Scourge only hit one of them. But Snow is really showing some nice micro in here, which he has shown overall. Seems like he's definitely wants to put up a good fight to Jaedong here. Finally has a decent contingent of Zealots yet again running across the map, putting down additional gateways, working on his tech, continues Corsair production. I always love a Protoss player that goes for heavy Corsair production. It has a robotics facility. almost up and running. It means he's going to go for a quick observatory soon. He's going to need that because, well, lurkers are already out in the field, so it's a very smart thing to do. Yet again, just trying to fly around with those Corsairs. I really like heavy Corsair numbers. Often players kind of just stop using them a little bit later into the game because they're focusing really hard on the ground army, but I really like early to mid-game heavy Corsair numbers. Even if you're not going Serif or anything like that, just be out there, have those Corsairs. They will find an Overlord to kill. They will find some damage to do. They will find a way to be annoying. They give you very important scouting information. They can dodge almost anything that kills them fairly well. Finally, some carapace upgrades for those Zerglings, so the Zealots are not going to have quite as easy a time. But still, you do not want to engage. Even if you have, say, 12 Zerglings, you're not going to want to engage 4 to 6 Zealots. Seems like Jaedong actually wants to put on a pseudo-contain here. Only 3 lurkers. They might actually take down a gateway unless an observer gets out there. So an observatory is ready. But also a robotic support bay. That's very interesting. There's a shuttle already out there. Very interesting textures. I saw some High Templar out there for Snow. And Overlord actually going to get killed before it spots that shuttle, before it gets inside the main to get that scouting information. Might be seeing Jaedong eventually go for some Scourge to get that information. Still putting down a little bit of pressure at the front. The gateway might go down unless Snow decides to do something here. Has some Corsairs alongside the shuttle. Seems he's going to want to put it down some pressure. Still hasn't put any pressure on the lower right-hand position. That does surprise me still a little bit. He's going to lose that gateway at the front if he doesn't stop that very soon. Seems like he's just going to lose that. Never mind. Don't think Jaedong's going to be able to go too far, but losing that forge is definitely not something he's going to want to do. Finally moving out here with an observers and zealots. He's going to lose his gateway, but the forge is going to stay alive, keep up the upgrades. Shuttle just kind of flying around with those Corsairs. A very interesting build, kind of very tech heavy, but Snow is expanding towards the 6 o'clock base. That is a gas base. Engaging here a little bit in the middle of the storms. Finally a storm. That's going to back Jaedong off a little bit. While the engagement is happening, seems like he's going to do something. Is this going to be Riven? No, just a High Templar drop. Another Templar diesel. Oh, look at that. Almost the entire drone line killed. Snow up to his old trickery. Now he just has to not lose that shuttle or that High Templar in there. Just to make sure is to keep those alive. And really, the lower right-hand main, look at how open that is. Nothing there but space to land and kill. And Corsairs have spotted that out there. Now going out, putting some pressure on the Overlord, so the Hydra stay inside that natural. Well, Snow trying to get the shuttle close enough, but no speed on that shuttle means that he can't get the High Templar close enough to start dropping. Meanwhile, back home, Jaedong going to put on a little bit of pressure, but DT's High Templar and Zealots and those cannons just going to force him back. With an observer in there, that DT is going to easily take care of those Lorcas, possibly going to force him to unbarrel. No Overlords in that position either. DT's just going to force him back. And Snow's going to want to just play like that. Shuttle going to be forced to stay alive. The Corsairs just sacrifice themselves, take a little bit of damage. Shuttle is much more important. But you really see the fact that no speed really is a bit of a weakness. One Corsair goes down, sacrifices itself. Do trade that for an Overlord. Not quite sure if it's an even trade, but any Overlord that dies really is a great delay and really a great tool. Really helps Snow out. Has 6 gateways now. Has replaced his frontal gateway that went down. Seems like he's going to find a great opening position. Has speed now. Hightown Park going to... Oh, 2 storms yet again. Look at all those drones dying. Absolutely beautiful play. Jaedong has to get a little bit flustered. That keeps happening to him. That Spore Colony not in position. Look at that little nook or cranny, whichever it is. Nook or a cranny, you guys pick. I like both nooks and I like crannies. Just like sometimes I'm both dandy and sometimes I'm fine. Not always both at the same time. Sometimes I am dandy and fine. So it seems like Jaedong going to try to put on a little bit of pressure. Seems like the 6 o'clock position was denied by Jaedong because Snow canceled it. So instead he's just going to take up this base a little bit closer to his natural, that 3rd, which is a mineral only. But it means that he's just going to be able to more safely expand towards a 12 o'clock position. So I understand why he's going for that. He's putting down a lot of pressure, but Jaedong still has his 4 bases, even though he's taking a lot of harassment. Snow has to keep up his own economy. He has to get additional base. He has to keep up mining. He has a fairly decent army, a lot of Zealots, a lot of High Templar. Hasn't really gotten into any engagements where he's lost a significant amount of forces. Has that shuttle with speed, with the Reavers inside. Another storm going to come off as Jaedong tries to come in here and engage. He needs... he really doesn't have the best position to engage from. He really needs to engage... Okay, that was a totally wasted storm, just using it on 2 Hydras. Maybe Snow only saw a couple Hydras, like, oh my god, it's a group of Hydras! And uses his storm. Because he does have a lot of High Templar, but still, just keep up the storms, keep up the energy. If you can have the energy on all those Hydras, the amount of damage you can do, that's just scary. Scary the amount of damage you can possibly do. Because, of course, in this game, you cannot pop a High Templar and already have a storm ready like you can in StarCraft 2. But you can get 3 storms up in this game, so that's very helpful. As long as you get that one upgrade, then you can have enough energy for 3 storms as long as you're willing to wait. But having several High Templar in your group, all with 3 storms against Hydra Balls and Lurkers, that's pretty insane. Now we see Snow's pressing into this low right-hand position. He has to be very careful because he could be boxed into this location. He has to stay maneuverable. He has a lot of splash damage units. That is a big help. Jaedong right now is kind of not working too much on drones. Wants to work on his armies. They're going to force an engagement here. A lot of storms from Snow. That's exactly what you want to do. You save up your storms so you can do that. Blanket an entire area. Look at all that blood. Reavers, 2 Reavers also. A lot of splash damage. 2 more storms. Even more Reaver Scarabs. Another storm. That one was pretty much wasted. But a huge amount of Jaedong's entire army taken down. Those Scarabs also a huge help. This is a very APM heavy build. This is a lot of micromanagement that you have to do. Have to be very careful. You have to get your positioning right, and you have to get your clicks off at the right time, at the right place. But there's a lot of storms, a lot of those Scarabs and those storms offer a ridiculous amount of splash damage. But it seems like at this point, Snow doesn't really have too many forces. Lost one of his Reavers. There's been Archon in there. Second Reaver's going to go down. 1 High Templar in there with no storm. But a few reinforcements, just a few running in here from Snow to try to mop this up. Overall, he's lost a lot of his forces, but he's still managed to pretty much completely eradicate what Jaedong had while he's still keeping some of his own units alive. Jaedong already has a few reinforcements ready to go, though. That's, of course, the strength of Zergs. They can kind of pump out units a little bit faster than everybody else. There you go, Zealots. You need a lot of Zealots in there. They need to blockade. They need to go in and start punching those Hydras in the face, except, you know, they don't punch with a fist. Well, they punch with a fist, but there's a gigantic glowy blade of death attached to the face, and nobody wants a glowy blade of death to the face. Not too many gateways still, but he's pumping up. He's trying to pick up the 12 o'clock position. If Snow manages to take this 12 o'clock and hold it, that's going to be a very big victory for him because Jaedong's still at 4, and I don't think he's safe enough to pick up another one yet. He's putting on a lot of pressure, trying to deny bases. That's not going to happen. He's forcing Snow to stay a little bit back home while he kind of gets his tech up to follow him on down the way. 30, I think that's a 30 Evo chamber on the way as well. So he's, at the very least, trying to keep a zone economy. Should have actually droned up a little bit more at this point, but it seems like Snow is having none of this. Like, what? Economy? Bases? Not going to happen. Actually put a probe here on this 9 o'clock position. That's fairly close to Jaedong. And he has a bunch of Hydras on patrol ready to counteract the shuttle. Shuttle has speed, though. Should be just fine. Takes only a couple of shots, but is absolutely fine. He's going to have to make sure to keep him alive, though. Corsair's going to go down, so it's not going to be any... Oh, okay, 1 Corsair stays alive. That's not going to be a lot of defense for that shuttle. Shuttle, meanwhile, just with speed, running around, forcing those drones away from the from the minerals. A lot of juking around by that shuttle, taking a Scarab in the face, but it might barely get to safety before it dies. Scourge right on its tail. Gonna cancel back. Gonna just skip that. Jaedong kind of saw that he was getting a little bit too close. He wasn't probably not gonna get that, so backing off. A lot of upgrades out there for Jaedong. Seems like he has Carapace 3 and Weapons 2, or either 2-2. Not too sure. I think he might have 2-2, maybe 3-2. While, of course, Protoss players, as usual, just stay with 1 Forge, have Weapons 3 upgrades, then gonna start working on his armor. Most likely gonna get a High Templar drop. Again, blanketing the drone line in storms, just with 1 single High Templar with that shuttle, just delaying Jaedong yet again. You see that Jaedong still only has 4 bases, and Snow has now 4 fully functional bases as well. He should have almost a lot of probes at that 12 o'clock position right out of the gates. Snow can't put on as much pressure quite yet, but it seems like he's going to have a very large army already, and already has a fairly decent army at the moment. Already managed to pump out quite a bit. As soon as he gets some more pumping going, it adds a few more gateways. He's going to have a very good army. Wondering whether he's actually going to stick to Reavers. I think he had 1 Reaver there to defend at that mineral only. But overall, it has a very nice army comp. I like this play where he kind of goes for everything. Also going to put down a base here at the 9 position, kind of just trying to sneak it in. That's a 5th base on the way, putting on a gateway right next to it, putting on some cannons. It seems like that's a base he's willing to sacrifice, but he's just going to try to hide it in and get as much from it as possible. Has a couple of Reavers in there, trying to get as many Scarabs off as forward as possible. I really like this play where he just goes for a lot of splash damage. Jaedong going to try to engage him here at the front. All the splash units, the important units, staying at the back, as is important, trying to get as many Scarabs off from range as possible. Nice Scarab staying there. Thought it was going to be a dud for a while, but got some kills in the end. Jaedong trying to expand to his mineral only, getting plagued there. Shuttle game plagued. That's pretty bad. But still putting on a lot of pressure. Snow keeping up a very nice army count, getting another storm off. I think Arbiter, is going to manage to get some more Dark Swarms off. And that Archon is going to get stuck in a corner and die. But yeah, I really like it. I think he's could be having a few more Zealots out there. He has an overall nice mix. Has a lot of Dragoons, quite a few Zealots, High Templar, and which he eventually morphs into Archons. And sometimes just back at home, hey, Archons, woot. And of course, also Reavers. I really like Reavers. Reavers are fun. At the moment, his main is almost dying when it comes to minerals, and his Natural's not doing too good now. His new base is going to get spotted, but he just flies in with that Shadow and that Reaver, and those cannons also just help out. This is a very small choke, so easiest way for Jaedong to kill would be drop, but I think going for a drop is a little bit risky for Jaedong right now, because that if he goes and drops that location, even if he manages to do a lot of damage, it seems like he is actually going to go for a drop, but if he does drop on top of that, and there might be a quick counterattack on top of that location right there. Nice Plague there on those Reavers. Very important units to get a Plague off on. They're just going to die after one hit. After a few hits afterwards, right there, Zerg can just run and try to kill. One Reaver stays alive thanks to his shields. But it seems like Snow's actually giving Jaedong a little bit too much opportunity to pressure him. And he's keeping some forces back at home to defend because he doesn't feel too safe, because he knows Jaedong can just run a contingent of Zerglings out there with a lurker or two, and they'll just kill those locations. Now he's going to engage here yet again. He has a lot of splash units. Those Reavers, very important to fight under their swarms. The Archons, doing a lot of damage, so he's not overall too afraid. He needs more Zealots. That's the problem. He needs a lot more Zealots to engage under the Dark Swarms. In the last game, he was putting on a lot of pressure, but Jaedong still managed to get Dark Swarms off because he was so Zealot heavy. The Dark Swarms didn't really do overall too much to him. He could just run in under the Dark Swarm. Zealots just, you know, shiny blades of death go swinging around like crazy. Still far too late. Can't call this game yet. Jaedong is being allowed a little bit too much room, in my opinion. He's getting himself very close to Snow's lifelines here. The 12 o'clock position is going to be in a lot of danger. Snow has to run back, hike his entire army back here. He's not going to have a lot of room. Going to get one storm off. Should have another storm in there somewhere. Another storm. Some of the Zergings are going to back around. Not too many more Zergings are going to try to run in here. Going to try to focus down this Nexus. A lot of probes going to go down. This Nexus is going to go down fast enough. The Zerg is killing it like crazy, really fast. The Zealots desperately trying to kill one storm. Going to go off. Nexus stays alive. One more Zerg there at the back, storming it. Oh my god. Wait, and the Lurkers roll also doing some attacks, but barely storming that one single Zerg in the upper left-hand corner might have taken down the Nexus, but now that Nexus is very vulnerable. It's going to be a big target, and unfortunately, Snow has a lot of his troops kind of spread out across the map. This 9 o'clock position has some DT, has a DT there, has a few Reavers, and just keeping them there, and really finding, he needs, of course, obviously needs those Dragoons against those Lurkers, but now he's not putting up as much pressure as he did. Jaedong has managed to pick up his mineral only. He's also picking up his 6 o'clock position. He's been giving too much room. He's been giving too much space. His economy is becoming strong again. Jaedong going to go for a big attack here, plaguing the Reavers. He's still going to be able to splash some, but they're going to go down much quicker. Has a few Zealots there at the front as well, but it seems like Jaedong might do a little bit of damage. These Reavers, not quite sure whether they're going to be too much. One Reaver going to go down. Shadow going to come in and save the second Reaver. With those Zealots under that, near that deck swarm, he might actually be able to keep that back, but he's not pumping as much as he would have wanted. His mineral only his mineral only doesn't really have a lot of probes. His 12 doesn't really have a lot of probes, and his 12 o'clock Nexus is really low, so if he ever allow, even just half a control group of Zerglings will just run in there, blah, 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 done. 3 seconds, and that Nexus goes down. He does have his 9 o'clock position, which was a very interesting, sneaky base for him to take. But it seems like Jaedong kind of running around across the map, waiting for an opening. Has some forces at the on the right side of the map, the upper right hand. Not sure if he's going to be expanding. I don't think he needs to. He has 6 bases right now, getting that 6 o'clock position almost full. And he's done a lot of economic damage to Snow now. Snow really making too many mistakes. He had a lot of nice early game play. Gonna go for this mineral only. He really needs to do some economic damage to Jaedong, so taking that base down will be important. Seems like he's probably gonna get a counterattack towards the clock position. Jaedong gonna get a nice drop off on this 9 o'clock. Wondering if he's actually gonna double back and also gonna go for the 12 o'clock position because that's very vulnerable. Might actually take this down. There are some high tempo in there. Snow, meanwhile, also gonna try to just force all the way through. He's taking down the mineral only. Gonna try to go for the 6 o'clock position. Has a lot of forces there. And Jaedong going to keep some forces there at the 9 o'clock position. Seems like he's also going to be dropping at the 12 o'clock. That's going to go down right here. You're going to see that base go down. There's nothing that Snow has to defend this. Not even sure why he's putting down those Dark Swarms. He should be able to actually just kill that Nexus really quickly. Seems like there's going to be a base trade. Jaedong going to lose his mineral only and his 6 o'clock position. Snow going to lose that 12 o'clock. He's not even taking it down yet. What's going on? That hasn't gone down yet. He's just focusing down everything around it before he actually focused down the Nexus. That seems like a taunt right there. And Snow just going to try to keep up this push. Has a lot of units. Trying to storm off all crazy because those Nats Canals are up. It's going to be a little bit harder for him to do this. Jaedong is not really mining from his main or natural much anymore. His natural only giving a little bit. Nice plague there from Jaedong, utilizing his forces. That Shadow might go down to those Scourge. Drop those Reavers. Oh my god, it stays alive. One Archon takes both of those Scourge down. And this is going to be huge base trader in here. The only thing that Snow has mining is now that mineral only. Jaedong still has his lower right mining pretty well. And I think his that natural at the lower right actually and that his main natural are still mining decently. There are some resources there. But Snow is now in a very, very difficult economic position. He's lost his 2 main mining bases right now. Look how little he has at that mineral. He needs to retake a base pronto and needs to defend it. He's been putting on a lot of pressure, but unfortunately, trying to break through that to the low right-hand base did not work out. He did take out 2 bases, but trading 2 for 2, Protoss versus Zerg, you do not trade 2 for 2. 2 for 2 is not a fair trade. 2 for 1 can be if the Zerg loses 2 and you as a Protoss lose 1, but a 2 for 2 Protoss versus Zerg is a very good trade-off for the Zerg overall, especially if he's in the kind of position that that Jaedong is in right now. See, Snow really doesn't have much in the way of army. Jaedong, despite losing those bases, he's just reinforcing. He's just pumping out a little bit extra. That one Reaver is going to stuck in there. And despite absolutely magnificent play from this guy, I really don't think he's going to have enough here to take out Jaedong because Jaedong has been given too much leeway. He's done a great job adjusting and staying in this despite some early damage done by Snow. He seems like he just didn't go through with it. He played a little bit too passively. That's what I really liked about the 4th set. He did not play passive at any point. And now he's being forced to GG because he reverted to a more passive style after that 4th set where he had Jaedong on the back foot the entire time. In this one, he had Jaedong on the back foot in the first half of the game, doing a lot of economic damage, taking the time to expand himself, and expanding too much, too far, leaving himself with way too many openings. So now Jaedong just going to go out there, march out. He looks pretty happy with that, and he does look like he was given a little bit of a fight. So anytime you can say that about yourself, that you gave Jaedong a damn good fight, is always when you can be proud of yourself. I actually seen Jaedong be in positions like this before in a round of 8. I believe a few MSLs back was against Kanata, where Kanata forced him to 5 games. That was insane. You know, the thought of Kanata back then taking down Jaedong. Holy crap! That was when Kanata, for like a period of time, just all of a sudden became ridiculously good again. It was kind of funky. But anyways, that was Jaedong versus Snow, the series you were all waiting for, and hopefully it was as awesome as you were hoping it to be. So GG guys, wrenching up, assisting. Hope you enjoyed. More MSL coming up.